Starcasting to you from the City of Angels. Hello everyone, I'm Kiris. Thank you so much for being here and listening to the Voice of Astrology podcast. This is your astrology cosmic superpower for the week beginning Sunday, May 19th through Saturday, May 25th, 2024. Let's journey together with astrology and explore how to connect with the stars, the planets, the energies for our new week ahead. Sunday, May 19th, and also on Monday, May 20th, our supernatural evening sky, we have the waxing gibbous moon, and the moon will be hanging right next to our bright star Spica. Now, Spica is referred to as the sweetest star of the heavens. It's in the constellation of Virgo, the maiden. Now, they'll rise before sunset and be visible through several hours after midnight. May 22nd, we have the growing, waxing gibbous moon will be near the bright red star Antares, which is in the heart of the Scorpion. Now, this will be visible from the early morning hours until dawn. Antares is one of the royal watchers. Antares is the watcher of the west, and in the heart of Scorpio, which is transformation, life, death, and rebirth, Antares is a fixed star that initiates change, which is the main event for our astrology this week. On May 23rd, we have the full moon at 2 degrees Sagittarius, but also if you are in the Americas, Western Africa, and Middle Africa, we will see the moon, the full moon, occult or pass in front of the great fixed star, the royal watcher of the west, Antares. Other locations may get to see Antares, if the skies are clear, very close to the limb of the full moon. Sunday, May 19th, we have the waxing moon in Libra, cardinal air Libra. The moon is increasing in light and power. The moon in Libra is ruled by Venus. Venus is now in her home sign of Taurus. The moon in Libra seeks to make changes in the relationship. Libra being cardinal air, cardinal meaning to lead, to initiate, and in the element of air, that as at the very least is to initiate conversation about the relationship, what changes need to take place, how to move forward. Cardinal leads us into a new season of life, and the moon in Libra makes an opposition to Mars in its domicile in the fire cardinal sign of Aries. And then the moon will also make an opposition to Chiron, the wounded healer in Aries. So the moon that wants it all and wants to initiate change as we are approaching the full moon, making these aspects to Aries elements. This is the change in the area of the I, Aries, I am, versus we are together, Libra. Now, Libra being an air sign looks at all different angles to a situation. Libra is a sign of the zodiac that can appear to argue just for the sake of being difficult. But that is not the intention of Libra. Libra wants everything to end up balanced and even and fair. So what Libra tends to do is look at all different kinds of situations and all different perspectives in the relationship, considering all the different angles before Libra makes the final decision, before Libra is firm about what the balance and fairness will be in a relationship. Libra at its best wants to negotiate a situation where everyone is satisfied and happy with the negotiation that takes place. Aries, being a bold first sign of the zodiac that also initiates change, can be quite volatile. We're looking at the element of fire. Aries, being the first sign of the zodiac, can make it all about the self. Aries being I am. So the discussion, the full moon that we are approaching, and the discussion with this moon in Libra as we start off the week is what changes need to take place to balance out the relationship you're in, where both angles to the situation are being fulfilled. You with your personal I am Aries needs, and what do we need together in this marriage partnership relationship. This Sunday on the 19th with the moon in Libra is a carryover from last week's astrology and energy. When there is a lack of the air element, in astrology we work with fire, air, earth, and water, and we need all of those elements, the elements of life. But when there is a lack of air, then there isn't any movement. The atmosphere gets very heavy, very stale. So as we are starting off the week with the moon in Libra, and the energy and power is condensing and getting more intensified, we're in waxing gibbous, we're approaching the full moon culmination point, then starting off this week with very important discussions as far as where are we in this relationship together? Have you lost yourself in the relationship? Perhaps you feel like you've given up too much or compromised too much in your relationship. Libra seeks to keep the peace if possible. So these kinds of discussions and what the moon wants and needs, I always say, feed your moon. The moon is hungry. It seeks to acquire. And when the moon gets the emotional needs met, then a feeling of peace, contentment takes place. When the moon, which is also lunacy, when the needs of the moon, the hungry child needing to be fulfilled, when the needs do not take place, or when we do not attend to or feed our moon, then irrational fears, anxieties, not feeling calm can take place. As an astrologer, I can assure you that most of the trouble and conflict, let's say, centers around relationships in life. There, of course, are other things going on, work, economics, health, and all of that. But the main stage, the main event, tends to be around relationships in life. Everything is moving and changing all of the time, and the element of air, which is the breath of life, keeps things alive and keeps things moving, is how we are starting off this week, which is where are we going? What changes are we making in the relationship that are necessary to keep the air, the element of life, moving in all of your relationships, friendships, not just the primary love marriage relationship. So as we are starting off the week, even if you are not a Libra sun sign, somewhere in your personal astrology chart, you have the sign of Libra on one of the 12 houses of life. So this would be where a discussion change needs to be open and free as far as that balance between your needs and the needs of the other. For instance, let's say you have the sign of Libra on the second house of personal finance. That would be a discussion around how are we handling the money in the relationship. Or perhaps you have Libra on the fifth house of children and creativity. That would be this approaching full moon in Libra discussion about having to have or not have children. It depends on where you have the sign of Libra in your personal astrology chart. Monday, May 20th, another great change takes place because on Monday we have the solar ingress into mutable air Gemini. So as we enter Gemini season and have been closing out fixed earth Taurus season, looking back during the Taurus season and making an assessment of what it is that you want to build upon, what in your life do you want to last. Taurus as a fixed earth sign is enduring, it's determined, it corresponds to the month of the year that is fixed. So long-term goals that you would like to set in place, that you have initiated to take place and stay in place. This is the Taurus season, and Taurus being ruled by Venus, the relationships in your life that are solid, that you want to stand the test of time, and your creativity and the talents and abilities that are innately yours, that you are born with, that you have the knack. This very much is connected to the sign of Taurus and the cosmic superpower that you have and were born with. Now we are entering on the 20th Gemini season, and Gemini season is the time of year where things are shifting and changing, morphing. Gemini is open to all of the possibilities. Gemini corresponds to the stage of development when a child is about to enter formal education. They're going to school. So Gemini, as mutable air, is very curious, loves to explore and ask questions. The Gemini stage of development loves the word why and how. Why is it this way? How does it work? The mind is absorbing and open like a sponge, wanting and needing to learn new things. Gemini can get bored very easily, and I always think of the sun in Gemini as the ultimate tourist. When you go on vacation, you're visiting a new place, you're exploring, you're discovering, you're asking a lot of questions, open-minded to the culture, the people, and learning about the new environment that you are in. Our time in Gemini season is not only about change and learning and growth. Our time in Gemini season, which says, I think, Gemini is all about the mind. The soul's journey through the sun in Gemini teaches us the importance of positive thinking, how thoughts are things, our attitude. Gemini always reminds us of the book by Napoleon Hill, Think and Grow Rich. What the mind can conceive and believe, the mind can and will achieve. As the sun enters the sign of Gemini on the 20th, we also have the moon falling into the sign of fixed water Scorpio. Now the moon is the subconscious imprints. With the sun in Gemini, which loves to explore and learn, and the moon entering the sign of fixed water Scorpio, Gemini is curious to know, with the moon in Scorpio, well, what emotions are really mine, as opposed to what emotions, sadness, depression, anger, what emotions have you been carrying that were never really yours to begin with. The primary caretaker, the moon, most of the time, the mom or whoever the primary caretaker was. What emotional baggage have they imprinted on you that was never yours to carry? That burden was never yours to carry to begin with. So the solar ingress into Gemini wants to go on a search and discovery mission, learn more about what is really yours, your needs, the moon, and what emotions need to be released and put to rest, moon in Scorpio, as we are approaching the full moon culmination in the sign of honesty, which is Sagittarius. Tuesday, May 21st, we still have the moon in Scorpio, and the moon in Scorpio makes an opposition separation aspect to Mercury in Taurus. When we look at Mercury with Taurus and the moon in Scorpio, both fixed, both signs, Scorpio and Taurus, opposing each other, not wanting to change, not wanting to budge. The moon in Scorpio, which is on this exploration mission of what is really yours emotionally to carry and what are your true needs, is making a separation, opposition aspect to Mercury and Taurus that does not want to budge. Now, these two signs of the zodiac, Scorpio and Taurus, have everything to do with value, self-worth, money, economics, the talents and abilities that you have that are of great worth. The moon in Scorpio making this opposition to Mercury and Taurus is a definite change of direction in how you think. Mercury rules over the mind. So how it has been fixed in fixed Earth Taurus, the moon in Scorpio, which is ruled by Mars cuts things away, is the cutting away of thoughts that are keeping you stuck, thoughts that have been set into place for too long now, and it has become a block to the emotional freedom that the moon in Scorpio is seeking at this time. Wednesday, May 22nd, which is Mercury's day, we've got the sun in Gemini ruled by Mercury making an air trine flow to Pluto in Aquarius. Now Mercury, known as Hermes in Greek mythology, travels down to Pluto's domain, Pluto in Aquarius. And it's a trine flow, the sun trine Pluto, which means there's a lot of support from the element of air. And it's like this. Have you ever been in a job, a situation, a relationship, where you live, where there is just no energy, no life left in the thing? When you just know, I've outgrown this. There is no more to learn. There is nowhere else to go. There is just no breath of life. The sun trine Pluto is that supportive trine aspect of not only movement and change, but letting something that has been dead for a long time, finally saying goodbye to it. Pluto is death, then the transformation, then the rebirth. So the sun, which is the soul's expression, and where in your chart do you have the sign of Gemini? Because the sun trine Pluto in the element of air is there is no life left, no breath of life left in this situation, and it's individual to each person. And the winds of change, the element of air, is now moving you forward. You have the choice to make changes where the change can be like a breath of fresh air. It's delightful, it's light. It's the sun trine Pluto. We can also resist making changes, and that can be quite frustrating and difficult. But when it is the time for change, Gemini is also the time when little kids will start trying on different costumes. Little girls will put on their mom's high heels. We see the Batman costumes, Spider-Man costumes, this kind of thing. In other words, Gemini is figuring out and exploring at this stage of development, who are they? What is their identity? Gemini time is figuring out who and what you identify with. One of the many things that I love about Gemini is that no matter what the chronological age, Gemini always has this youthful, childlike quality about them, because Gemini tends to not cling and hold on to the past. They're fully in the moment, in the present, open to learning and open to all different possibilities. Whether Gemini is 8 or 88, they always have this youthful energy and quality about them, because they don't hold on to the past, because they are in the present and always bringing in that sense of learning and exploring. One of the strong symbols of Gemini is Peter Pan, forever youthful and ready to go off on the new adventure. Thursday, Jupiter's day, the full moon in Sagittarius, ruled by Jupiter. This full moon in Sagittarius is at 2 degrees, the beginning of the sign of Sagittarius, the first decanate, the first division of Sagittarius, which is a double whammy of Sagittarius. Now, Sagittarius is ruled by half horse, half man, half human, half feral. There is something always untamed and wild and free about the feral signs of the zodiac, which is Aries, Taurus, Leo, and Sagittarius. So the full moon that brings culmination and the fullness of awareness, because the moon is a mirror. It is our satellite. It shines back to us, mirrors back to us the true inner self-image that we have. So with the full moon in Sagittarius, this is putting an image or a mirror back to us on how you truly see yourself in the area of being Sagittarius independent, honest, free, open to adventure, open to going past the boundaries and limitations that perhaps you believe about yourself. Sagittarius is gratitude. Sagittarius is faith, believing. Sagittarius not only reaches for the stars, but believes it can get there. And this is the key to Sagittarius and the full moon in Sagittarius. Sagittarius is about trust. And as a fire sign, fire is about confidence in taking action. When you set your sights on a goal, do you believe? Do you trust? It's gonna happen. This is the sign of Sagittarius. Now, Sagittarius is also the sign of truth, honesty. What gives you strength? Truth. What weakens you? Lies. When you stand in the truth of what you really believe, that's the strength and the faith, trust. It's gonna happen. When you are lying to yourself, you're all conflicted about what you really believe and have faith and trust in. That's the not reaching for the stars and not believing that you're going to get there. Sagittarius is very philosophical. It asks the big questions. What is this all about? Who am I? Why was I born? Billie Eilish at the Academy Awards, she's a Sagittarius singing that song. Why was I born? That is a Sagittarian singing the ultimate Sagittarius kind of song, asking those questions. And the faith and the belief of who and what you are and why you were born and what this is all about is what the full moon in Sagittarius is putting a spotlight on, what it is highlighting and mirroring back to us. Do you have faith? Do you trust? Do you believe? Do you know what that is for you? And do you stand in the truth of that? That is the wild and free, cannot be contained, tamed, restricted, perhaps that's a better word, and going for the reaching of the stars and going past the boundaries. Without the faith and belief and the truth of that in you, why bother? You're not even getting out of the gate, never mind reaching the star. Along with the full moon in Sagittarius, that is feral, wild, and free, now Venus is changing signs on May 23rd. Venus leaves her home sign, her castle of Taurus, and moves into mutable air Gemini. Now Venus is about pleasing, happiness, what we love, and we are certainly in a season, a time of change. When Venus moves into Gemini, what you love is changing. Now, Gemini doesn't want to be tied down or feeling trapped in anything. That's all of the air signs, the element of air. But Venus in Gemini, ruled by Mercury, is you having a change of mind and heart about what you love, what you want to learn, and what you want to do. For instance, say you've been in a certain career for a while, and now Venus is entering Gemini, and you have a change of heart about it. You feel that you have outgrown it. There isn't anything left to learn. You're not excited about it. Venus always is about pleasing, what gives you pleasure, and it just doesn't please you any longer. Before Venus enters Gemini on the 23rd, Venus in Taurus makes a conjunction to Jupiter in Taurus, both ruled by Venus. So the greater and lesser benefics, Venus and Jupiter, are coming together in this great cosmic embrace, this big cosmic hug, and saying, thank you for the blessing of what we loved at the time that our heart was there, but thank you and blessings and gratitude for the experience of Jupiter and Venus in Taurus, which is, this is mine. This is what Taurus says. This is mine. I have. But now that Venus is changing and moving into Gemini, the I have of Taurus is, yes, this is mine, but I'm not so sure that I want what is mine any longer. My heart is no longer there. So once something is yours, it's not like you have to keep it and hold on to it forever. We appreciate and give gratitude for the things that we love while we have them, and then it will change again. Friday, May 24th, Venus's day, we still have the moon in Sagittarius making a square to Saturn in Pisces, both ruled by Jupiter. Moon square Saturn is a reality check in releasing the blocks, the addictions, the avoidance, whatever they may be for each individual. This is the Saturn in Pisces. Get real about what needs to be released to achieve the goal, what has become a block. We are still in full moon energy, so that awareness of what is holding you back, Saturn blocking you, weighing you down, that is something that will need to be looked at and let go of. Then the moon in Sagittarius makes an exciting fire trine flow to Mars in Aries and a fire trine flow to Chiron in Aries. So this new sense of bravery and courage, this is the element of fire, and fire has to take action in a very bold, it's a masculine element way. Where do you have Sagittarius and Aries in your personal astrology chart? This is you being lit with the excitement and confidence to take action. Saturday, May 25th, we have Venus in Gemini now making an air trine flow to Pluto in Aquarius. So this is the Venus in relationship, a harmonious relationship to Pluto, saying, yes, I am now ready for the transformation in what it is that you love and really makes you happy. Venus and Gemini. It's a feeling of being like a kid again and all fired up and excited about the future. We also have Jupiter, the kingly planet, entering the sign of Gemini, which is its detriment. Now, when Jupiter goes into Gemini, and Jupiter being the biggest planet in our solar system, it's over the top. Jupiter is at home in Sagittarius and Pisces. When a planet is at home in its castle, the planet has everything that it needs to function and perform the most effectively at its best. When Jupiter enters Gemini, which is the opposite sign to Jupiter at home in Sagittarius, Jupiter in Gemini is in its detriment. The ingress of Jupiter into Gemini will be big because everything is big with Jupiter. It will be big lessons to be learned in what we say, how we say it, gossip, the mindset, the attitude, everything that Jupiter represents. Jupiter is not favorably placed in the sign of Gemini. It's not about good luck and blessings. If I hear that expression one more time ad nauseum, this is not Jupiter in Gemini at all. Jupiter in Gemini is becoming aware of the power you have when you say something, how you say it, and the effect it has. It is the lesson, the kingly Jupiterian lesson about the power of the word and gossip. You have the power. You have the cosmic power that you are born with to say something that can either uplift, heal, elevate a person, a situation, or you also have the Jupiter and Gemini detrimental power to tear down with your words, your thoughts, your attitude. You have the choice. This is Jupiter in Gemini. There used to be the saying, if you don't have anything nice to say about someone, don't say anything at all. In the news, which Gemini and Mercury rules over, and in social media, communication, and anywhere and everywhere that there is communication, which can easily turn into a battle, a slugfest, because someone gave an opinion that is different than yours. This Jupiter Gemini, and that's just to use one example. This Jupiter in Gemini that happens once every 12 years, Jupiter will typically spend 1 year-ish in each sign of the zodiac. So be very careful, because there will be lessons to be learned about the power that you have in what you say and how you say it. Now, does this mean remain silent at all costs? Of course not. Like the saying, if you don't have anything nice to say, don't say anything at all. But it is fair to say that there are certain times and situations where do you really have to give a negative opinion? It depends on the situation. It depends on what's going on. Many different factors. Now, this is the beauty and elegance of Gemini. Gemini has this gift of being able to adapt and change to the situation. Gemini as a sign is very sophisticated. It's smooth. There are times to speak up. There are times to not say anything. There are certain situations when silence speaks volumes. This is the beauty of Gemini and Mercury, knowing when to speak, when not to say anything. The potential damage that can be done by saying something at the wrong time, in the wrong situation, is the detrimental aspect of Jupiter and Gemini. The healing and uplifting that can be accomplished by not saying a word. Perhaps it's just being there for the person. There are certain things and situations that really there are no words for what this is. It depends. It morphs. It changes, just like the sign of Gemini. Gemini is the mind. I think. Thinking about what you're going to say potentially before you say it is so key with this Jupiter and Gemini time that we are entering. Now, because Jupiter goes into Gemini once every 12 years, you would think back in your life what situation, what words were used, where some real damage was done because of words. Gossip. This is the Jupiter in Gemini. Jupiter rules over the news, for instance. And I am obsessed with the Brian Kohberger Idaho 4 case. Jupiter rules over the media and the information that we're getting. How the media has put a spin on what's going on in this case to make money, of course, but the spin and the way the news is trying to manipulate you into having an opinion with the Idaho 4 case could potentially put a human being literally in front of a firing squad and put to death. Think about the power of gossip and the mind and the word and information. You have the free will and choice. Nothing up in the sky is making you do anything. It is simply putting a light and awareness with Jupiter and Gemini into what you say, how you say it, and not only speaking, but taking in the information, because Gemini is a radio. The radio receives the transmission, processes it, and then communicates it back. So it's not just about what you're saying with your words. It's also about, with Jupiter and Gemini, what are you letting into your mind? How are you taking that in and potentially believing it, Jupiter, and holding on to it and then communicating it back? Protect your mind. Protect what you are taking into your thoughts and your mind. This is also the Jupiter in Gemini. Remember that the stage of development with Gemini is when a young child, now past the toddler stage, is open-minded to the information, getting ready to enter formal education school, and also how the Gemini, I think, stage of development is trying on different costumes and identities and mom's high heels and that kind of jazz, and deciding, trying to figure out who I am, what is my identity, what do I identify with, and what do I believe and have faith in. Jupiter and Gemini. Protect your mind and your thoughts and your thinking. It is of utmost importance always, but with this Jupiter in Gemini, it is crucial. You could think of it this way. How easily is your mind messed with by what someone says, what you read, what you hear? A mind is a terrible thing to waste. Thank you, everyone. Have a fabulous week. What a week. And I will see you all in the stars.